Hello, everyone. Welcome to Developing Palates. I'm Aaron Loomis coming to you from the Drew Estate studio. With me today is June, Lou, Seth, Geis, and for the last time from the Village Cigar Studios, John McTavish. How you guys doing?
Wait, the last time?
Wait, what?
So this is the last day for the Village Cigar Studios.
Sponsorships up, man.
John's not leaving Developing Palates.
I was like, I don't give a. I mean,
it's like, who's leaving?
Sorry to hear that.
Got him. Actually, that's not true because there will be recap videos that have the Village background that we've recorded previously. So
yeah, because we're
the last time live. Let's say that. So anybody that interested in sponsoring John's studio, reach out to me.
Listen, man, the studio is a very luxurious spot. Yes. It requires a lot of money to pay this off. I'm not like, this is very luxurious.
Right. Or if you have a cigar brand that you'd love to see behind John,
anything really.
Yeah,
I mean,
really.
we could put,
doesn't have to be cigar brand. Yeah, it could be whatever.
We'll put anything back behind John.
Whoever pays.
White Claw, whatever.
Yeah.
You give us the month check. You can put back whatever you want.
Pay to play, baby. Pay to play.
Let's actually not encourage that. Let's not encourage that because there's going to be somebody who actually, you know what? Fuck it. We'll take your money. Let's see what we roll with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to say hi to you guys. So welcome.
Well, we've been chatting.
Yeah, but we just kind of all went to John. You know,
it was a green room. It doesn't really
count. Or something. So I know June had a good weekend. So what about the rest of you guys?
It's just emotional San Francisco.
It's a little sad, as we wind down football season and, it's the season's been over for me for like 10 weeks or whatever. But, there's like, I don't really follow a lot of other sports other than Formula One, and Formula One doesn't kick off for, like 2 months, 3 months. So not going to watch hockey, there's no football to watch.
You're not going to watch hockey? Why are you not going to watch hockey?
Because back in 2004, there was a player strike after the Calgary Flames got absolutely. You want to talk about referee? We could do an hour just on how screwed
you guys so pissed off that you guys can't win a fucking Stanley Cup.
They played an entire playoff series, all the games, and they might as well bench the player for the entire series. They got penalized so badly because the league did not want a Canadian team winning the Stanley Cup.
That was the Lightning?
Calgary Flames.
No, but who are they playing? The Lightning?
No, I mean like the whole series, like every single game they played through the playoff. I think it set a record for the most number of playoff goals called back during a playoff series. Like there must have been 15 goals called back, and then to cap off that experience, there was the player strike, and I was like, you know what, I'm done, and I just after that point I was like, you know what, I'm good. All right. I'll watch him live. But
so we're here tonight live to reveal our 2022
top 25.
Top 25. That's right. So we've let everybody do their thing. Wanted to wait till the end. Tried to get this in. Have to get in before the end of January. I think it's discounted at that point. So here we are. We're gonna get into it. I'm gonna share a nice little presentation, and we'll kind of get going through it. See how this goes.
Excited. There's no tiebreakers.
Is this a video?
Is this a goodbye video for John?
It's literally goodbye.
Yes, it's a montage of John's
Scottish Highland dancer.
It's like at the Oscars.
Love Actually, it's like
in memoriam. In memoriam.
Ouch. Damn. Whew.
Let me know if you guys are going to be able to see this. I'll see how it pops up on
listen, if you can't see this, you need to see your local optometrist.
Do we have to agree to these terms, or do we already agree to I'm just kidding.
All right, perfect. Top 25 criteria for 2022. We probably, as much as everyone wants to complain about our scoring system, how complicated everything is, it's probably the easiest thing in the cigar land to figure out. So this will be pretty simple for you guys.
No one's going to complain after they see our list. Yeah. All those people that have always complained, this is their year.
Right. Okay, so only cigars that were released between November 1st, 2021 and August 31st, 2022 are eligible. This was a issue on my end. Our window should have been through October 31st of 2022, but just based on how the cigars released this year and We need to keep reviewing, and so we bought a bulk of cigars released kind of in the middle of the year to make that happen. So we will catch up next year to try to make it back to our normal kind of window, but with the added 2 months that we missed this year. So this is the window. So if you're gonna, at the end, you're gonna ask, well, how come so and so didn't make it on the list that was released in September or October? This is the reason. They will be eligible for next year, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. All right. And then the cigar has to have been reviewed on the site by all 4 of us. So any cigar that was only reviewed by 1 of us or 3 of us or 2 of us, that's not eligible. And with this information here, I will tell you that there were 100 cigars that were eligible for this list. So 25% of those cigars are going to make this list, and we're kind of go from there. So that's the starting point for the criteria. All right, how the rankings work. As I said, there were 100 cigars that were eligible, and basically the way that we do it is we do not have a discussion at the end of the year about what we think should be on the list and where it should be on the list. That doesn't work.
What about the when you don't like what's number 15, Aaron, and then we just change it with number 12? What about that one though?
Yeah, you could do. I mean, we do that every once in a while, okay. But All right. So the way it works is basically we take the review scores that we gave at the review, and we sort all of the reviews from highest score to lowest score for each reviewer. And then those all get a weighting. So the highest score gets 100 points. The lowest score gets 1 point. We do that for each of the reviewers. You take the numbers from across a cigar for all the reviewers, and that's the score that cigar gets. And then you basically sort that list from 1 to 100, and the ones with the highest score gets rated the highest. So those are just added up, and that's the score. There's no feelings involved. There's no discussion. There's no arguments. None of that. So yeah, it's all set in the review during the year. So there's no additional discussion at the end. We just go by the numbers that they've been set from wherever. So that way we don't have recency bias where a cigar that we smoked in August or actually smoked it in maybe November or whatever is fresh in our mind, and that's going to get something rated higher than something that we smoked in November of last year. So kind of keep that all out of the loop. So should be pretty straightforward. All right. So with that, I think we're going to start getting into the list. Anything that I missed before we get going, guys?
I have no questions.
Okay. So here we go. Number 25, unless there's a slide that I forgot is in between here, but I think we're ready to go. Number 25 is the Protocol Bass Reeves Maduro. And I will bring up my list to see who should be talking about this.
Pretty sure that's me.
If I can do that.
One of the persons.
All right, John, hit it.
Legendary lawman Bass Reeves, man. Come on. Flawless construction. It's very Espinosa-esque in the first third where, it comes out of the gate with this like medium minus, sometimes almost medium full blast. But then it kind of calmed down, which was nice, and showed a lot more subtlety, a lot more nuance, a lot richer chocolate flavors. It was good. It was nice. I like the format. I appreciated that for a limited edition. That the construction was great. And I think what we'll find on this list is that June and I probably aligned on a lot of cigars on this list. I think June was like this one as well.
Yeah. June, what were your thoughts on this one?
Yes, it was good. John was incorrect about the burn being perfect. It was not.
Oh
no. For me. Yeah, so I within kind of protocols offerings, I feel like there's been a lot, and especially within a lawman series, it's been mainly misses for me. But I thought this one was good. So within all those new SKUs that they've come out with, I recommend smoking this one. This one's pretty close to like kind of what I feel like Lozona does well, like the way they kind of make cigars that are meaty and got nice spice to it. And this one had all of that, and that's why I liked it a lot.
Nice. All right, moving on. We're going to go to cigar number 24, and that cigar is the Tatuaje Havana 6. Yuraku Blue number 1. Almost blew it. Almost blew it.
At least there's no typos.
Steph, what were your thoughts on this one?
Listen, I love this. I thought it was a vast improvement. Not that there's anything wrong with the original Barracu, but I just really thought that the wrapper really added great qualities to this blend. It was complex. It had this creaminess, red pepper, spice, really good burn and construction. It kind of, it softens out a original strong profile. So it was nice experience. Who else was up there with me? Someone else was up there. John was.
Yeah. I mean, I put in my final words that, like, if you took all the sort of delicious Christmas baking and you were to kind of consolidate those flavors into a cigar, you would get the Tatuaje Havana 6 Barracu Blue. And that was, like, I don't like Christmas cake, but like it had that sort of fruity element and had this sort of baked, bready, delicious, sweet, soft flavors and nuances. It had a perfect burn for me, or perfect draw, and a nice long. Like what I really appreciate on a cigar like this is that the flavors are engaging through the whole review, and I got 2 hours and 50 minutes out of it, which I was very happy for, because it's one of those cigars where you're like, I kind of want an extra half an hour on the cigar just to keep enjoying it, but you can always light a second one. But yeah, it's good release from Pete.
There you go. All right, moving on to number 23. It is the Red Anchor Admiral. So, John, what were your thoughts on this one?
So the flavors in this were surprising. There was a combination of flavors that I'm not sure I can recall getting on a cigar, which was in a good way. So it kind of had a musty tobacco center, but then it had like this vegetal celery and like a spinach iron flavor combination. And I was like, that's so odd, but in a good way. And then, there were some more traditional flavors in there of like bread and baking spices and stuff. But it was well constructed. The flavor profile was put together really, really interestingly. It didn't overwhelm on the palate. I think it was pretty much medium all the way through. Great smoking time. It's obviously a more premium price point, but I think for what it is, I think it delivers. And you're the other one on this one, aren't you?
June.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So this was actually my number one cigar of the year, right?
Yes.
So with that said, thank you for everyone for watching. We'll see you next year. No, it was, once in a while you smoke a cigar, you kind of say, man, like, this is why I smoke cigars, right? Like, because the reality of it is most cigars that we smoke are pretty average, right? We get to kind of know all the traditional familiar flavors, but something like this comes out and it reminds you of how you fell in love with cigars. And that's exactly what this was for me. What else was I going to say? I feel like, I think I said this in a review video, but this almost kind of feels like what I feel like Davidoff still should be doing. And they're missing out on is exactly this kind of blend. So it's a very probably relatively unknown name and blend for probably a lot of people, but for $25, I splurge on it and just try, like, especially if you like a lot of like more nuanced, balanced cigars. Like, I feel like people should really give this a shot.
Sophisticated.
Yeah, sophisticated.
All right, moving on to cigar number 22. It is the LCA Reserva Vintage 2021. And I'll share some thoughts on this. I think we've all been fairly critical on Pravada in regards to some of their marketing and branding and things like that. But this was kind of a nice step away from that. I mean, kind of more traditional packaging, more traditional marketing around it. Cardboard kind of like coffin box. This is a Christian Aroa branded cigar, and it definitely smoked like that. I mean, it was a pretty smooth cigar, not a lot of strength to it, but a smooth, mellow, easy smoking experience. I would say probably one of the cigars that probably was the most consistent across all of us that reviewed it. I mean, it didn't like score sky high, but it did evenly with each of us to kind of get it to that level. So it's a bit on the higher price point side, $14. I think they did another version of it for 2022 already, and which comes out at the end of the year. So kind of why it's still 2021 version still fits in, but limited release. It's easy smoking cigar. If you're, come across this, I haven't smoked the new one, so I don't know if it's kind of a similar profile, but if it matches up, and if they did more of these, I think that there'd be a little bit less gripey. I know they have a nice fan base of other releases, but I think this is something that's definitely approachable to maybe some of those smokers that maybe aren't kind of, that's not on their radar, or have been kind of turned off from some of their previous releases as well. All right, let's get into cigar number 21, and that is the Espinosa Las Seis Provincias LV. And I think, John, you're going to take us on with this one.
Yeah, this is a banger. So I was talking earlier about the Bass Reeves and how, it was started out sort of typical Espinosa in a good way, because I like that, like June was saying. This did not start out like a typical Espinosa. And in fact, my first few puffs in, I'm like, oh, what's going on here? It was, I don't want to say restrained, but I would say a lot more reserved and conservative than a lot of Espinosa blends, and in a good way, because I think it allowed a lot of the individual tobacco notes to come through and offer influence on the blend, which, this is one of those cigars where you can't just light it up and smoke away. You do have to pay attention, because there's a lot going on. And I did mark down, and I think, I have to go back and smoke all the previous releases, but this might be one of my favorite, or the favorite, of the Las Seis Provincias that has come out. So I was pretty high on this, and obviously based on that, looking forward to the 2023 release.
Awesome. All right, so with that, I think we're on a recap. So this is the first 5 cigars that we've listed. You can kind of see that here. 25 Protocol Bass Reeves Maduro. I blew it on the 21 at the end. Tatuaje Havana 6 Verico Blue #1. Red Anchor Admiral at 23. LCA Reserva Vintage 2021 at 22. And the Espinosa Las Seis Provincias LV at number 21. All right, so we're going to move up to cigar number 20. And that is the Room 101 Namakubi Ranfla. So Seth,
yeah, man,
you and I are kind of paired up on this one, I think. What were your thoughts on this?
It's always a good thing when it's you and me, man.
Yeah.
So listen, I thought I've always loved Room 101 Namakubi when it first came out. I still remember that cigar. And this was pretty close to that, while also delivering the qualities that you're seeing out of William Ventura that you get with Booth. So it had like these old school flavor profiles that I like to call kind of musty, spicy, dry, earthy, some creaminess. I really liked it. I thought the construction was great. Packaging's beautiful on it. Yeah, beautiful steak.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing you see with at least the way this one is packaged, I think there was another version that was not the kind of the figurado look or perfecto look, but this comes in that paper tube with the tissue paper and all that stuff. This is the higher step up in regards to a portion of the proceeds for this goes to charity, which is also a nice thing with it. But like this is a beautiful cigar all around. It smokes well. Construction's fantastic. Just a nice smoke. On the higher price end, but as I said, there's a charity aspect to it as well. But I think it's an enjoyable cigar that if you're able to find these, you should go out and at least give one a try to see what you think about it. All right, number 19 is the Cuesta Rey number 95 Cameroon. And with this one, we are going to go and jump over to Seth.
It's me?
Yeah.
Was that the highest one? I thought
no, June's highest, but you can lead off.
I mean, listen, I just remember being completely shocked while smoking this cigar, and I will be honest that we went in, I was like, why is Aaron making us smoke this? Like, I don't get what we're doing here. But it was really enjoyable. There was lemongrass, there was pepper, it was earthy. It wasn't overly strong. It was kind of soft, but it just had great construction. Really easy cigar that I think a lot of people should smoke it. If you like Cameroon, I definitely, you probably haven't smoked it and you should get some. I think the prices were good on them, weren't they? No, like 15. It's not
Yeah,
bad.
not too bad. All right, June, take us away.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about the cigar. It's been kind of feel like this one's been a while ago. But kind of reflecting back on my notes and no, reflecting back on my smoking experience, not my red notes. I felt like, there's Cameroon, there's not that much Cameroon wrapper stuff out there, of course. So if, given the opportunity to smoke it that's outside of that like Fuente brand lines, it's always interesting. So in this scenario, I felt like they nailed Cameroon really well. It was sweet and spicy alike, really nice, big, full flavors. And it was consistent. And that's what made it ultimately good. It's just, I don't know, for some reason, I don't know about you guys, but like Quest Del Rey, when I think about that brand, I kind of for some reason go through like thinking about catalog, like online catalog type brands. So when I saw this, kind of like Seth, and I was like, "Why the fuck are we smoking Quest Del Rey?" but to my surprise, it was really delicious. I'm glad it scored top 25 for us.
Yeah, and this is exclusive just for when you're visiting the factory, down there, and it's rolled there in Tampa area. So nice, nice. It's a nice treat if you're down there.
Yeah, if I was down in Tampa and I went to the factory, I don't know, I'm sure you could probably buy a bunch of these, maybe a box of these. It's something that, yeah, if you could buy a box of them while you're there, yeah, definitely buy a box.
For sure.
Just because it's, you're not gonna be able to get them anywhere else. And it's a good stick too.
Yep. All right, let's get to number 18. Plasencia Cosecha 149 La Vega. All right, John, this one is yours.
Yeah, listen, I read a lot of commentary throughout because we did this a few months ago. And this was, this is a big standout in a lot of different ways for me. First of all, it was good all the way through, which, sounds sort of like a backhanded compliment, but it's becoming difficult for me to get the same flavor experience out of the last third that it did out of the first and second third. And this was one of those cigars that was very consistent all the way through. A lot of complexity, but not palate overwhelming because, the fine line between delivering all the flavors and just being overwhelmed in the palate by the second third. And this didn't have that. And it was just such a great standout for me. This is not only for me, top 25, but it's one of those standouts where I look back on the last couple of years and go, like, this is a standout for the last couple of years. Like, this is just such a great release. And I think really just a showcase of, Plasencia in general just keeps putting out stuff that I want to smoke, like whether it's the Almafuerte or the Cosecha. It's become one of those brands where I walk into a shop, if I'm down in the States, I see Plasencia on the shelf, I just grab it because I know I'm going to have a good experience, and the 149 was no different.
All right, let's head to number 17. Number 17 cigar is the Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust Muestra de Saca, the Bewitched. June, tell us your thoughts on this cigar.
Yeah, I feel like Saka cigars are not meant to be like, usually you don't hear a ton of like a lot of composure and balance with Saka stuff because he uses typically more heavier tobaccos, right? But I felt like with this cigar, it was exactly that. And that was a bit surprising in a really good way, obviously, because it's on this list. But, I feel like, what's smoking through something like this, Saka could do more than just great things with like broadleaf and just heavier tobaccos in general. And I felt like this is a really good rendition of that. This is a part of his, what does he call these?
Muestra de Saca series. I'm just gonna go out and fucking limb there.
Oh yeah, sorry, it's even right on there.
Sorry, dude, I had to be a dick.
Wow.
He's got baby brain.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, and in general, like I feel like most of the Muestra de Saca stuff didn't really hit for me. But this one absolutely did. So yeah, it was good.
All right, and Seth.
Yeah, I don't know why June just texted me that Saka doesn't know how to make a balanced cigar, but I mean, listen, it's just no, I haven't been crazy about some of his stuff that comes out of Noxa, but usually when Saka does things out of Oya de Nicaragua, he's producing a flavor profile that I enjoy. This is stronger than I usually smoke. I think, didn't Saka one time go on there like, Seth only likes Connecticut's. But here I am, man, leading the charge at 17.
Oh boy, there we go.
It's got a lot of coffee. It's leather, rich oak, tobacco notes. I like it. Really good stick. I like the press. Yeah, definitely smoke it again.
All right. Let's go to number 16. And back to back, Dunbarton Tobacco Trust Mi Querida Tricky Chaka, number 448. I'll get started with this cigar. I think when he does small format cigars, he knows how to pack that profile into that format. And I just really enjoy them. Kind of coming off of the Mi Querida Firecracker, getting into this. It does really well. It's got that dark kind of cocoa-ish flavor profile to it. And in that short format, it's hard to miss when you can just like keep that going the whole way. Perfect construction as well. I really enjoyed it and glad to see it making the list here. June, what were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this delicious. It was a little crack hits, little short crack cocaine hits. You know what I mean? And in the same way, all that goodness of Connecticut broadleaf that I love. It's chocolatey, earthy, dank. And in a 30-40 minute smoke through. Yeah, this is like sometimes I have like ADD when I smoke cigars. But this is something I could just smoke through 2-3 of them in one setting and be really happy with.
Yep.
You smoke 2 or 3 of them at the same time?
No, not like shove it in my mouth all 3 at the same time, Seth. But one after the other.
It's not doing an OnlyFans, man.
When you talk to me like that, man.
Can I just add to that?
Sure.
I think there's a few companies that do this small format sort of full profile really, really well. And I think Steve is one of those who's very consistent. And I get excited when he pulls out a small format like this, because I'm like, I know that he's going to deliver a great smoking experience in that hour and 15, hour and 20 minute mark. And sometimes it's kind of nice to not, have to review for 2.5 hours, but you still get that complete flavor experience. And it's really nice.
Yep, exactly.
I'm just glad that I could help bring the cigar to 16, because otherwise it'd probably be in the top 10. So
That's right.
My bad, guys.
we all have some of these cigars in this list that we kind of tanked their placement. If all 4 of us had liked it, they'd be crazy high. But it's the way the game works.
That's why I'm here, man. I just smoke Connecticut's.
All right. So we have made it through the first 10 cigars. Here's a good recap for you, so you can kind of see where we're at. I don't think I'm going to read through the list every time, but this gives you a good opportunity to kind of catch up if you're just joining us and you maybe missed a few of them. So 16 through 20 on the left, 21 through 25 on the right. And then at the end, we'll have a full recap with all of them, but we'll keep hopping through this every 5 that we kind of get through. So, all right. So I think it's time to move on to cigar number 15. And that cigar is the Ferio Tego Timeless TAA 2022. And Seth, I think you can kind of give your thoughts on this one.
I mean, it was the last hit at Nat Sherman. Might as well fucking bring it back, baby. It was just as good. I think my score was basically about right in line with what 2020 kind of counterpart of this was. Just really a rich cigar. Filling. Just really enjoyable from beginning to end. I love the profile. I like the packaging on it. Great stick.
I will say this cigar put me on my ass with the strength level. It was just, it was a pretty strong cigar. But I'm glad they kind of brought this back and went through that. So nice one. All right, let's get to number 14. That is the Adventura La Llorona Robusto. We actually just published this review today, but made it on the list. Regardless, we had smoked this kind of a month and a half or so ago, but it's kind of in the queue of where it fell in the review list order. So John, start us off with this one.
Yeah, so this is a classic example of something we smoked at the trade show, and you know, it's always tough when you're at the trade show, dry palate, dry smoking environment. It's really awful for cigars, but this is one of those cigars that I smoked, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be one to watch out for when we get the review, and I hope it performs as well or better, and it did. You know, near as I could tell, the blend wasn't changed between what I smoked at the show and what we reviewed. And I think what stood out for me is that a lot of times when you get a medium full cigar, it's kind of medium full all the way through. Like that's just kind of how it is. And I think what they managed to do here is they played around with the profile. There's times where the profile is actually right down to the light level, like it was remarkably light, and there's times where it was like absolutely medium full, completely dominating the palate. But at no point did I feel like any of the flavors were out of balance. So that's pretty impressive. You know, the packaging was interesting. We don't smoke the packaging, but I thought the packaging was kind of some of the coolest stuff to come out of the trade show. And it's nice that they could deliver a cigar that, in my opinion, kind of lived up to what the packaging was offering. Great cigar.
Yeah, and this is one of those cigars that I kind of like how they get to the end result. And you know, sometimes cigar blends are, they feel like you have to transition constantly and put on this like fancy show for you. And then sometimes you can just have like simple core flavors that you just deliver them well. And that's kind of where I place this cigar is it's not, it doesn't have to be anything like fancy and like shooting off fireworks or anything like that. It can just be a nice mellow thing that you're enjoying, and as long as you can kind of stay consistent with that and give you really good construction and not have to worry about doing anything else but sitting back and enjoying it. That's kind of how this cigar felt for me. So yeah, it was well done. The band is, like I said, like John said, the band's pretty cool. You can take off that that skull band there, and there's another skeleton head under there without the hat. So kind of a nice little thing with the bands. That's pretty cool. All right. Cigar number 13 is the Army of Angels Connecticut Toro. And June, you want to tell us about this cigar?
Yeah, you figured Corona Cigars pay me or something, but they don't. But yeah, this Army of Angels Connecticut Toro. This is Connecticut shade with just done right. It's got plenty of really nice soft notes, just right an amount of pepper to kind of make it seem not overtly just kind of soft and sweet. Yeah, it's $15 for Connecticut shade is kind of difficult to stomach, but at the end of the day, a good cigar is a good cigar, and this is a very well done representation of Connecticut shade, and it's especially good because it blends out a lot of that, like because some of these Connecticut shades could be like Ecuadorian Connecticut shades could be a bit bitter, and it wasn't overly bitter. It didn't have that overcast of bitterness that ruined the cigar, which is a big plus as well.
John, your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, when I lit this up, I knew that June and I were going to be pretty aligned in this because, this is one of those cigars that checks a lot of boxes. And as June said, it is sort of a more modern Connecticut because it does have that red pepper flake in there, but it's not palate crushing. It's just over medium. But as June was saying, what I like is that it doesn't completely depart from the sort of core of what a classic Connecticut should be, but that overwhelming dryness that you can sometimes get in Connecticut, or that overwhelming tannic character you can sometimes get in Connecticut, that's not in this blend, but it still has that hay and that sort of slightly tannic wood that still maintains the core of what a classic Connecticut is, and it delivers that sort of midway through the second third. So great creaminess, really nice on the palate, and yeah, it's $15. But to be frank, I mean, half the stuff we're smoking now is up in that mark. And if I need to spend $15 to get a really good cigar, I'm okay to do that. And I think it delivers, and the next time I'm down at Corona, I'll definitely be buying these.
Yeah, for those that are not familiar, this is a store exclusive for Corona Cigar Company. It's made out of from Aganorsa. Uses Florida sun-grown tobacco. So yeah, store exclusive. This is the second release in the series. I know Seth was a huge fan, and June is a huge fan of the original release. I haven't had a chance to smoke it. I don't know if John, if you smoked it, but Seth and June rave about it. So just a good follow-up for this. And you can always pick them up there, but it's just a store exclusive, so not something that you probably find around at your local shops. All right, let's get to number 12, and that is the Rocky Patel White Label Toro. And I'll get started on this one. Connecticut shade from Rocky, high price point, but it delivers kind of that classical kind of Connecticut profile, kind of out of that Rocky kind of factory style. So, really good construction as you can expect, but some good flavor delivery with it as well. And I think June was also kind of a fan of this one as well, June.
Yeah, so with this, I would say everything that I talked about for the RP of Dangerous Connecticut, except that this is $5 more, which is even more ridiculous. But it's good. It's good. It's really good. It's like super sweet, super creamy, like, more, if a cigar guy that doesn't like very overly earthy, rustic, like spicy type cigars like this, this fits the bill. And if someone doesn't like a lot of strength as well, so this will fit the bill just right.
All right, gonna move on to cigar number 11, and that is the Espinosa Knuckle Sandwich Habano Corona Gorda R. And June, why don't you go on with this one as well?
Yeah, man, you gotta love the way Espinosa does things, especially if it's blended by Hector, and Hector had a hand in the blending. Like I feel like those things combined are just winning combinations. And this is no different. You look at something like this and it's backed by celebrity, but it doesn't have any of that like celebrity bullshit. Like this actually tastes good. I have no idea if Guy Fieri was really involved in the blending process and all that, but I don't really care because this is just a damn good cigar. Not like celebrity like spirits you find out there, which they all are complete hot garbage.
John, your thoughts?
Yeah, so this is kind of the opposite of the Las Provencias, because I said the Las Provencias was subtle and nuanced, and this is anything but. This is at times turned to 11. Some palate crushing red pepper flake and black pepper, but not in a bad way. It's got creaminess to balance it out. Like June was saying, it's just got damn good flavors all the way through. I think the format's really good, but I understand that from my review, I really like the Maduro, and I think scoring wise for me, they were neck and neck. I think I preferred the Maduro, but I think the panel preferred the Habano over the Maduro. So, that's how the top 25 list goes, but you really can't go wrong smoking either one, I don't think.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so that wraps up the bottom 15. So here's kind of a recap for you. You can kind of see the most recent ones we did at the top, and then kind of following up below that. So if you're just kind of joining us in the middle of this list, this will give you a quick way to catch up with where we're at. We're going to head into the top 10 now and start getting to the money spots, as some would say. All right.
Wait, is that where they have to pay us for the spot in the top 10? Is that the money?
I was trying to be subtle about it, but yes.
Oh,
John,
sorry.
Yeah.
Fuck, John.
Sorry.
At 10, it is the Cavalier Geneva Inner Circle Toro. And John, you can kind of kick us off with this one.
Yeah, listen, we've had a lot of time to spend with Sebastian and smoking a lot of Cavaliers. This one was, I don't even know how to describe it. I used the word sophisticated already to describe another cigar, but this is what this cigar is. This is like a modern smoker, sophisticated profile. It's just layers upon layers upon layers of flavors all the way through. You do have to pay attention to it. You can't just light it up and watch a football game. This is one of the cigars where you really got to pay attention to the cigar to get everything out of it. You want to smoke it slow because there's a lot going on. But I got 2 hours and 5 minutes out of it, and I enjoyed this all the way through. Given the presentation, given the packaging, and given the profile, the price is quite reasonable for the market in 2022, 2023, which I also was impressed by. I would have expected this cigar to be like $17, $18, and it's not. So, this checks a lot of boxes for me.
All right, Gene, what were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, completely agree with John. I will say there's so much subtleties to pick up on the cigar that you should definitely have this as your first cigar of the day. You don't even have to eat breakfast. Just drink a cup of water and light this up.
That works. All right. We're going to get to cigar number 9, and that is the Asylum 10 1118. Seth, take us through your thoughts on this one.
Listen, I mean, it smoked like a really, solid Honduran, this was all Honduran, right? I'm not just saying something that's not going to be.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. It's Honduran.
I mean, yeah, because it was, there was creamy, it was, dry wood, leather, earth, soft spices. It's just kind of this classic Honduran puro quality that you get with, really anyone that uses quality Honduran tobacco. Kind of a massive cigar. Good body and strength though, really nice construction. I like the packaging. I like the little funkiness to it all. I can't think of the technical term for the
coffin box.
No, not the coffin, with the band.
Oh, the
hologram thing going on. Yeah. There you go. Jeez.
Hologram. God,
yeah, I really enjoyed the cigar as well. The weird thing is that it didn't start off the best for me. I thought the second 2/3 were the better part of the cigar, and I think it just once it kind of opens up that ring gauge, it starts to really come together, and kind of in that middle part, getting like floral notes, creaminess, and some some nice spice notes, and it just kind of all comes together that middle part, but it doesn't fade out at the end. It kind of stays strong there, and I really enjoyed this. Honduran puros don't always hit for me, but this one kind of, I don't know, it warmed up in that first third and kind of just started firing on all cylinders the rest of the way. So
I botched this one for you guys. I'm the only one that didn't like it.
Yeah. So
I think it's like a summer fall blend.
Yes.
I think Honduran cigars it's a really like early fall, late summer. It's a really good blend.
This would be good with some mead.
Hey, that'd be good. Yeah.
Or some pumpkin spice lattes.
I do like those pumpkin spice lattes. That's true.
Yeah. All right. Number 8 is Ferio Tego Timeless 10 years. And I want to say it's going to be the same. You and I, Seth. So you want to take this one?
Listen, Michael, you're welcome. So listen, it's just damp wood, tobacco, coffee bean nuts, earth and spice, all Dominican. If I recall correctly, John didn't like this, which
no.
Did you like it? Is this the one Dominican?
I pushed this one. I pushed this for you guys.
Is this the one Dominican that we both actually agreed upon?
Yeah, this is the one where I think in the video I said, "See, Michael, you can blend something that I like. You can blend a Dominican cigar that I enjoy."
But yeah,
I don't think
I really like the blend. I thought it was just, it didn't, the burn wasn't that great. But it's just because of how the tobacco is, but it's just really enjoyable. Nice body and strength too.
Yeah, I mean, I really like this one as well. It's just kind of has, I'm not going to say it. So mushroom muskiness, some floral notes, cedar, nice spice notes. Smokes really well. Did not kick my ass like the TA did. So I had the balance I wanted there. It just smokes really well. So really nice cigar. On the pricier end, but there's only like 5 or 6 cigars in a year that I'm going to say I'll go back to and smoke. And if I have to pay a premium to get those 5 or 6, I'm willing to do it. This is one of those cigars I would go back to. So, I'd be willing to pay that price to make this happen. So. There you go. All right. Number 7 is the Hoya de Nicaragua Antonio CT Lonsdale. And for this, we will jump over to John.
Yeah, listen, man. I think one of the things I've found with Connecticut blends is that in general, a lot of them smoke better in the bigger ring gauge format. So when I heard they're coming out the Lonsdale, I was like, oh, I don't know if that's going to be right. But it is right. It's really good. Consistently good all the way through. And this probably is on our list, and I've done some smoking for my own. This is probably the cigar that I think I've smoked the most on my own. After the review, I went and picked some of these down in Houston and kept smoking them in Houston, and they're just extremely consistent. You get the same flavor profile every time. The construction, of course, coming out of Hoya, perfect every time. It's just over $10, which, in this market is a hell of a value. And I think they did enough with the profile to be really interesting for people who have sort of moved on from Connecticut blends, but it's not super strong. So I think it's one of those great bridge cigars where, a daily Connecticut smoker can appreciate this cigar, and someone who doesn't really smoke a lot of Connecticut's can also appreciate this cigar. I just have nothing but good things to say about the Antonio Connecticut for sure.
All right, June, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I echo John's beliefs.
Echo John's beliefs. Jesus.
No, everything's good about this. Price really good. It's honestly like sometimes I feel like if people could just make a Connecticut shade that is just gonna be like smooth, a lot of soft, kind of white flavors, and like the just like really sweet, creamy. You're probably gonna place on our list, like me and John, anyways.
Yeah.
Which basically means you're gonna.
I'd throw myself on that list if you can do that. Yeah.
If what?
Yeah, you love a creamy,
Soft and creamy. I mean, I'm all about it. If you could do it and kind of dodge those like that dryness and any kind of bitter notes, if you could dodge that and do all the other stuff, I'm in. Yeah, 100%.
For sure.
I like them a little bit firmer, not as creamy, a little bit darker.
All right, there you go.
Nice.
Different
strokes, different folks.
Different strokes, different folks.
All right, number 6 on the list. Tatuaje Cojete Reserva.
Speaking of darker and firmer, man, look
There
at
you
that.
go. All right, June, we're gonna stick with you on this one. Tell us about your thoughts on this.
Yeah. I would say Pete's Cojete releases the 3 that
Yeah,
4, 3, 3,
3 this year. Yeah, 4.
Well,
this year.
4, right?
Yeah,
Because he did broadleaf, Sumatra.
Oh, that's
not a part of the co-ed. Wait, was it?
No, it was
that's different.
It was not. They didn't do. He did T110, Avion,
three.
and one other one. So
yeah, I'm talking about Cojetes. He only did 3 different versions.
3 Cojetes,
yeah, my bad. So I mean, I would say all 3 of them are worth smoking in general. But this broadleaf one, or the Reserva one, I mean, kind of like what I think, John, you were saying this earlier. We're talking about that Tricky Traca, that short version, like short fatty kind of version of broadleaf, Connecticut broadleaf. And aside from Saka being on that list of doing those really well, like Pete Johnson's right up there doing these really well. I would say he probably did it like from back in the day of doing bangers of these. So I think when we smoke these, it still tasted a little bit young, but I think with time it'll just get better and better as well. So,
all right, Seth, what are your thoughts?
I mean, listen, it was a short Robusto, great broadleaf. I mean, it was strong espresso, leather, peppery spice, earth, cocoa powder, a lot of strength, a lot of body. Just really good, filling, rich blend. I mean, I'd say they were young when we smoked them, but they'll just age. But they still smoked great, and they'll just age wonderfully. Great cigar, great release. I mean, it's just this is like the broadleaf stuff that we loved of Tatuaje.
All right, it's recap time. So here you go, 6 through 25. If you're just kind of joining us in the middle here, you missed a couple here or there, you can kind of catch up a little bit by seeing what's placed so far. And now it is time to get into the top 5. John solicited some guesses. He only got, I think, 1 guess, and it was completely wrong. But we'll let the guesser stick with their thoughts on that. But all right, here we go. Number 5. The Buenaventura BV554 limited edition 2021. And Seth, we're going to stick with you on this one.
this was, well, I mean, John's a part of this too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, I mean, this was just one of these, like, where did this come from? Licorice, leather, cocoa powder, coffee, leather. I had said that because there's so much going on in these things. It was just medium strength and body. It had transitioning throughout each third. It was complex. There was depth. The draw, if I recall correctly, I feel like the burn and the draw were just perfect for mine. It just was, I don't know why I didn't buy any more of these. I don't know what the fuck happened, but this was so good. John?
All right, John.
Yeah, I was reflecting on this cigar, and I remember even now looking at it on the top 5, I'm like, this, to me, this cigar is Al Pacino in The Devil's Advocate, when Al Pacino's the devil, spoiler alert, and he says, "They never saw me coming." And that was the Buenaventura when I I looked at it, I'm like, okay, like I don't know what to expect. And I lit it up, and it was one of those cigars where you take a couple puffs and you look at the cigar and you're like, where did this come from? And you keep smoking it and you get halfway through and you're like, man, this is a good cigar. This is just a really good cigar. And I think, June, you used the word refined when you described it. And I think that, like, it's so remarkable to see a cigar that's just over the medium mark, but you still describe it as refined. Like it's a fairly full-bodied smoke, but it's refined. And, I think the word I would use to describe this is understated. Like, you look at the cigar and you really don't know what you're in for, and then you light it up and you're like, oh man, this is just such a good cigar, and absolutely deserving of the number 5 spot. And obviously, when they come out with presumably the next limited edition, that will be high on my list of ones to look forward to for sure.
And I'll just drop it. This cigar is $7.50. So
What?
if you want to say they can't make good cigars for under $10, then this is your example of how it can be done.
Don't even go to the grab bag. It's already in the grab bag.
All right.
Fucking probably, they probably
New
are,
release, straight to grab bag.
Got to be in contention for the value cigar of the year.
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Cigar number 4, Alec Bradley, Fine and Rare, BC 134EV. All right. So in this, we're going to go with Seth. We'll start off with you.
Listen, this had, I think, like any Fine and Rare, it had a lot going on. Damp earth, barnyard, sweet spices. There was like mocha, oak, red wine qualities, almost like this port quality, medium in strength and body. Just really filling, complex throughout. Really good. I had a really good draw, but I just remember the burns. Kenny Alec Bradley, it's not great, but I put good, which probably hurt it, but for them it was solid. So, but a really good blend.
All right, Gene, what were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, echo a lot of what Seth said. It was just it had a lot going on for it. Pretty quite complex. You kind of figured, like, when you smoke a Fine and Rare, out, you want it to be complex. You expect it to be composed and balanced and complex and all of that, right? So, and it was exactly that. And for something that uses such that has so much of the complexity, like, I kind of think about paying like almost $24. It's not too bad, right? Because it's more, that seems fitting. Like me paying like $20 to $25 feels like, if I could get some like really nice complexities and nuances, to me that's worth it. And I feel like to that extent, it something like this does fit the bill.
All right, John.
Listen, I think this, if I were to describe a cigar as anything, this is a full body wine in a tobacco profile. Like, it's just got so many of those full bodied red wine characters in a cigar. Rich, complex, and Seth kind of walked through the flavor map, but at the same time, it's restrained. It doesn't jam up your palate. It doesn't fatigue you. And that's important because, in a larger cigar like this, it's such a fine line between full bodied and burning you out, because like, I got just short of 3 hours smoking time on this, which is great on a cigar that's a premium price point. But smoking for 3 hours, if it's fully full on your palate, you're gonna be hard pressed to taste anything by the halfway point, and somehow this managed to still deliver that rich complexity all the way through. I was sad to put this down when I finished, but man, this was such a good cigar. And shout out to Coop, because this was number one on Coop's list, and I think Coop got a lot of ribbing on this one, and we just kind of had to keep our mouths shut. We're like, well, we'll see what happens, and here it is, number 4 for us, and I think much deserved.
All right, we're getting into the podium positions, as they would say in F1. Correct, John?
That's right.
All right.
For
money
number 3,
position
for three through.
All right, cigar number 3 is the My Father Le Bijou 1922 100 Años limited edition Corona Especial. Also wins number 1 for the longest name of the year. But June, take us through your thoughts on this cigar.
So this was interesting, especially knowing that it scored so high for us. So this is not my kind of flavor profile. This cigar is really hearty, very spicy, very rustic, like stick to your palate for hours on end after you smoke it, kind of a cigar. But what I can and do appreciate is how well it did those things. And because it did those things so well, and it wasn't, and by the way, it's not just spicy and earthy just for the sake of those things. Like there was, other notes, like some nice cedar coming through, some like semi-sweet chocolate coming through that made it a really nice but very bold profile. And I really respected that, and I really liked that. But for me, to smoke something like this again, like I better eat, I don't know, half a cow.
That's a lot of beef, man.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say Impossible Burgers, but
all right, Seth,
be lying.
Take us through your thoughts.
Listen, I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was a beautiful cigar. It's probably, near perfect basically for me. As June said too, it's not like these aren't the cigars I smoke. This isn't a cigar that I smoke. You wouldn't see me smoking this type of cigar typically. Just balanced throughout, leather, tobacco, wood, earth. There was soft creamy notes, red pepper. I was getting some cashew qualities, medium full. Great construction. It's just, I don't know, I've been smoking cigars a long time, man, and you kind of seen every company over the years has had, waves of when they've done well. And My Father, I think, has had some really good moments, and I think they've had times where I don't think they've done as well. But I think, you can kind of see this year that My Father in general is doing great, and this I just thought was just fantastic. I think it's probably one of the best cigars they've done. I just loved it.
Very good, very good. All right, we're getting to the number 2 cigar of the year, and it is the Ace Prime Maria Lucia. This was a very good cigar this year. Heavy dark oak, black pepper, earth, chocolate syrup, granular cotton candy sweetness, just crazy flavors that I don't typically get out of cigars. Just really, really, really well done. Alas, there's a problem, and we don't know what the future is of this cigar, this blend. But it was a PCA exclusive. So I would say to other brands doing PCA exclusives, and especially to the TAA, please take note of what occurred here and try to emulate or do better than this in the future. Just really well done cigar. Yeah, I mean, smokes really well. Price point's pretty reasonable. I mean, it's sub $13, especially with what the price points are nowadays. It was well done. It was nice to see. You typically, these type of releases would come out in future years with other Vitolas and things like that, but with the influx of the company and the factories and all that stuff, I'm just hoping that this can somehow stay what it is, and we can continue to smoke this in the future. June, I think you also had fine thoughts for this cigar.
Yeah, this was awesome. This was awesome Connecticut broadleaf. Everything you wanted to be. It was chocolate, it was chewy, it was earthy, dank, like all of that good stuff. I feel like when I think about brands / blenders that do broadleaf so well. You know, of course, you think about guys like Saga and Pete Johnson, and like I'll even put like Nick Malolo in there, right? But people shouldn't, forego taking a look at what Luciano did for this blend. They really should take a hard look, and it'll really surprise you how much if you smoke those other, brands and those that I just talked about, like this should be right up there with them, for sure.
Yep, absolutely. All right, are you guys ready for the number 1 cigar of the year?
I don't know. Are we?
I
don't know if our audience is ready. There's like no guesses. I don't know what's going on out there.
Yeah, I think there were a couple guesses, but they were incorrect.
Monte Cristo number 2.
Yes.
We should put a fucking Cuban up there.
H. Upman number 2.
I think we'll do yeah.
I do love an H Upman number 2 though. Man.
I do too.
Really
they don't suck.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
They're really good Palates.
Number 1 cigar of the year is, and Jay, I will say no. Olmec was released in September, so it does not qualify for the dates, but it will be in next year's contention. All right. Number 1 cigar of the year is the Tatuaje Cojete Capa Especial. And with that, we're going to start out going back to June on this one.
Yeah. So what did the Cojete Reserva hit for us? Like top 10 for sure, right?
Yeah, the Reserva was 6.
6, got it. So when I was saying earlier about the Reserva, of how you should just smoke all the Cojetes and they're all really good, they are, and this is an example of why I said that. This is just perfect for your everyday smoke. I mean, and I love cigars that'll last that like 40 to 45 minute range, and it's just consistently good throughout. And you could leave it or let it roll up and spend another 45 minutes or so on. So that's what I like about the Cojete formats in general. This is great, and it will. And I think if I remember right, when we smoked this for review, I think it was pretty early on in our review cycle for this cycle year, right?
I'll be able to tell you here in a second.
No, January release.
You guys all smoked kind of through May, like early May. Yeah,
got it. It was spring.
Okay. And I think this will get better as time goes on as well, because it smoked a little young as well back in the day. We'll be there reviewing when this came out. So yeah, it's awesome. I by the way, do you guys remember when we were smoking these Tatuajes and like when we were going through Cojetes, we're like, oh, our top 25 list is just gonna be fucking Tatuaje.
Yep.
Wow.
All right, John, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, that was so I had when we originally reviewed this, and I went, oh shit, did we just smoke cigars that are like, did we just round out the top 5 of the year? And and that's a good thing. Like when you've been smoking cigars as long as we have, and we've been reviewing cigars as long as we have, that was one of those ones where you lit it up, and off the first few puffs, you're like, oh man, this is so good. And the only thing that's in your mind is, I just hope that the rest of the cigar lives up to the first few puffs, and it did. It was just one of those wonderful cigars all the way through. And like I said, right off the bat, I knew it was a great cigar. And I managed to eke this out as long as I could. June was talking 45, 50 minutes. I managed to get an hour and 10 minutes out of this. I mean, I was really, really dragging it out. But again, that's what Pete is really good at. He delivers these short format cigars that are a short format, but maximum delivery on flavors. And they're readily available. They're reasonably price point, constructed well with great tobacco. It's just such a great cigar. And for me, it was kind of a toss up between the two Tatuajes, the two Cojetes. I think they were pretty tied for me. But they were special for sure. Much deserved of a top one.
All right, Seth, take us home.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I just thought it was, first third was starting out some stone fruit, cinnamon, red pepper, chocolate, hazelnuts, earth, and leather. I didn't think it was as strong as the Reserva, but it was. I thought it was still one of these things that had a lot of potential, just because I thought it was younger, but it's still a fantastic release. And the whole Cojetes all of them were. But just, really nice, again, solid Ecuadorian Sumatra with, My Father tobacco. It's coming back, everyone. They're rolling.
There you go. All right. So to recap, here is the list. Number 1 at the top, and you can see 2 through 25, the rest of the way down. We'll leave this up for a couple seconds while we kind of chit chat, but I don't want to get into overall thoughts too much for the year because we're going to do a show on that I'll kind of talk about here in a minute. But what are your thoughts kind of on this list, and kind of maybe anything that placed higher than you thought it was, or anything placed lower than you thought it should have been?
Well, I'll just throw it out there that the Quest Array, so that's one that that's going to be on my homework to revisit for 2023 if I can get my hands on it. Because I think we talked that, I was kind of the poo-poo on, I just had a unfortunate experience, which happens. And I think, that would have probably placed top 5 if it wasn't for me. Because, so I think when you see that at 19, that's a bit of a sleeper. I think if you're down at the factory, do not hesitate to pick that up because everyone went gaga over that cigar. So I think, if we do in our recap, how does that line up? I think the one cigar on that list that I feel like is out of place is maybe that Quest Array. And I take responsibility. That's my sorry guys. That's my fault. Sorry.
But there's actually a lot of them on this list like that. There's going to be cigars where 3 people really enjoyed it and one person just didn't like it at all, and that's just kind of how it works out. But it's that's the beauty of this panel is that we have 4 differing palates, and the cigars that kind of go across that, what we all like, that those are the ones that do the best. So
you could age our top 10 cigars. You look at all those cigars and you can say, yeah, you could age those. Like I looked at those, I could age those for 3 years and come back to them, and there's going to be still something there.
Yeah.
There's going to be quality, and a lot of them are going to improve with that time, which you don't see that a lot with non-Cubans. But I think there's something with a list. If you look at that top 10, you can see quality cigars that you can put away in your humidor that are truly special, and will age well.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I would say everything on that list I smoke again, even if I didn't like it. But like I smoke it again, even if I crapped on it on the original review of it. Like I love to go back to them if I can, to do a retake on it, because that's always fun, right? But and also within the ones where I say, like, for instance, some of these co-heads where I'll say when we did review was a bit young, like I love to do like a smoke it again now to see how much is better at this point,
right?
Because cigars it's all about the journey, right? At different parts of the age of the cigar. So
isn't Blue Smoke of Dallas doing our sample pack with a little promo special with that too?
Yeah, that's a good idea, Jay. If you want to do a sampler pack of the top 5 or top 10, if you have all those in stock, that'd be fantastic. But I would assume that some of those may not be available. So, but we'll see what happens. So
use that promo code.
Yeah.
Oh, it's DP0.
Yeah, exactly.
The
go ahead, John.
I was just gonna say one of the things I like about the curated list that we do, just to pat ourselves on the back for a second. Legitimately, as Jim was saying, there's not a single cigar on that list that I wouldn't hesitate to go back to smoke. And when people are like, what? So people who are maybe new to the NC market, and they're like, what can I reach for? Like, what is a standout cigar? And I can go, look, here's 25 cigars. Go buy a handful of cigars of this 25 list. I don't feel like you're going to have a bad experience. I feel like every single one of these cigars in some way is going to deliver something you're going to find interesting, unique, engaging, you're going to want to return to. And so for me, it's very easy for recommendations when people are like, hey, you review a lot of cigars. What do you recommend? You know what? I don't feel bad about giving you this list because I feel like you can buy any of these and you will come back and say, great recommendation. So, it's nice.
So I just want to congratulate all the brands and companies and people behind those brands that made the list this year. Thank you for putting out good cigars and that we enjoyed smoking. So that's always fun for us. And I want to thank all these guys here, June, Seth, John. I know this is a big year of changes in all of our lives, new and old and things of all that nature. So appreciate all of your time in spite of all of those things, and look forward to continuing on with this with you guys. So thank you very much. And then just kind of
John, it was nice to have you on the team.
Yes, thank you for
it
your
was good
last
being
name.
here.
It
I
was
enjoyed
good.
the
It was
journey
good.
as I move on to bigger and better things.
That's
Big
right.
fan.
So this list will go up on the website tomorrow morning, kind of our normal publishing schedule. The video will go up on YouTube tomorrow morning, and the podcast will be available if you want to kind of go back to anything that's going to be on Facebook immediately after this. Next Monday, we will be doing our end of the year media recap show that we do every year. So same time as this, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will have William Cooper from Cigar Coop, Charlie Minato from Half Wheel. We'll kind of do our annual thing of just kind of breaking down the cigar year of 2022 and thoughts on how this year went, maybe what's going to kind of happen this upcoming year and in the future. So hope you can join us for that. Next Tuesday, we will publish the value cigar list. So kind of the breakdown for the cigars that provide the best value for score versus price. So it won't be the best cigars, but the cigars that you can, you get the most value out of based on the price performance. And then Thursday of that week, we will publish all the kind of the numbers behind the scenes. So all of our score breakdowns by country and price point, and sponsor versus not sponsor, whether we bought the cigars, whether the cigars were provided to us, all those kind of behind the scenes inside numbers that people ask about or wonder about, like, do you guys give better scores to your sponsors and all that stuff? Well, that'll be all transparent. So you can
work hard on
you could dig through all the numbers and you can say whatever you want to say about it at that point. So lots of fun stuff coming up next week. Thank you all for joining us on this list. Really appreciate it. Let us know what you think. Comments here, comments YouTube, comments on the website page for the list. We love the banner back and forth on all the picks and things like that. So thank you again for joining us. Really appreciate it, and we will catch you next week on our 2022 recap show.
Going to Disney World.